One, because they've been lied to and told that they can be something they're not. But two, in every case, there's always an underlying issue, whether it's trauma, autism, depression, an eating disorder, something on the spectrum. Those issues are not being addressed. They've gone from being ostracised, misunderstood and bullied to now being celebrated and protected in every way, shape or form. And they can be the bully. They can be the bully in these situations. And so why wouldn't they?
Yep. So you've got to be publicly humiliated as part of your punishment. You've also got to pay $95,000 in damages to both of these men. So that's your punishment. You've got a small window in which to make a decision about going to the appellant court. Are you able to say, is it too early to say what you're going to do now?
We're going to file our intention to appeal.
Okay.
Absolutely. This, as I said, this is a lot bigger than me and them. It's a lot bigger than that. And this is about freedom of speech in Australia. It's about challenging really harmful vilification and anti-discrimination laws. And if this is allowed to stand, this could really open the floodgates for many other really frivolous and vindictive lawsuits.
What has Equality Australia said about your case?
Actually, I haven't read it, Lyle, because
not just about. Have they been commentating throughout over the last few years?
I believe they have, and again, with all the fanboys at those magazines you talked about, they celebrate every loss that I've had, and I wouldn't expect anything else in that sense.
I know Equality Australia. They were at the court when Sal Grover lost her appeal, and they made commentary to the media. Equality Australia. So in one sense, your organisation Binary is continuing the work that we knew would need to be done after the same-sex marriage campaign. Equality Australia is Australian marriage equality morphed into a new organisation. So they didn't fold their tent after they redefined marriage, and they're now the greatest exponents of the transgender agenda and also of putting children on puberty blockers and cross-sex hormones and advocating for surgery for them. That's Equality Australia.
Opposing lesbians who...
Opposing lesbians. Going after your free speech, Sal Grover's free speech, my free speech with the Drag Queen story time. I just want to make this point again. The patron of Equality Australia, they have two. One is the Governor-General Sam Mostyn, and the other is a man who identifies as a woman, as a drag queen, Shane Jenick, aka Courtney who posts material on his Facebook page that even the ABC had to delink from their kids page. So this is the sort of company our Governor General is keeping.
Unacceptable.
She's politicized, isn't she?
There is no other way to say it, and that role should not be politicized. She should be representing all Australians, and she's not doing that.
Yep, and I've called, and I'm going to say it again here, that she must resign as patron of Equality Australia.
I second that motion.
Thank you. I want to just move now to attempts that have been made politically prior to you getting into legal trouble to try and fix this, and most notably a brave senator from Tasmania, Senator Claire Chandler, and then a Liberal candidate by the name of Catherine Deves, both known to both of us. They were fighting a good fight way back in 2022 and before that to try and save women's sports. And Claire Chandler even had a private senator's bill at one stage to save, I forget the actual mechanism, it was probably an amendment to the Sex Discrimination Act.
But there is a provision, because the Act is meant to protect sex, gender identity, and there was a provision that if speed, stamina or strength was a factor, that sporting organisations could discriminate against.
So that's in the law now, so arguably we don't even need anything. So that raises questions in my mind. I'm sure that was something you guys put up as part of your defence, and that wasn't taken into consideration.
And the Oz guidelines, Oz sport guidelines basically counter that narrative and say that particularly at grassroots level, that gender identity is more important than biological reality. And let's face it, most sporting organisations in Australia, all the grassroots ones are community run and community funded. They don't have the ability or desire to take on these massive legal battles. So they just... That
makes no sense. I mean, if the legislation has a carve out for strength and stamina, the Oz sports guidelines would be subservient to that, surely. But let's not...
Technically...
You think so? Anyway, let's not get bogged down in the weeds. But Claire Chandler, Catherine Deves, they were doing their best politically, advocating publicly, Senator Chandler through the Parliament. I'll never forget the day in April 2022, just before the 2022 election, Scott Morrison was asked about Senator Claire Chandler's initiative to save women's sport, and he said, we have no plans for any legislation to do that. How does that make you feel as someone who's now found themselves in a multi-year legal battle when the politicians had the chance to fix this and didn't?
Yeah, look, it's so disturbing. We're all quick to blame and right to blame Julia Gillard and her government, but the coalition did absolutely nothing. They could have done something many, many times. They could have stepped up to the plate. They could actually be in opposition and oppose some of the things that the government do, and they don't do that. And it's really, and even to this day, with Albo saying it's a culture war, women are not a culture war. Our sex-based rights are not a culture war. It's just a reality that we have to live under, we have fought for so long. And for Scott Morrison and subsequent leaders of whether it's either party has been so disturbing. And we feel very disempowered, very voiceless, and it took Sal Grover to lose in the federal court on appeal for any of them to even put their head above the parapet or even close to the parapet.
So this is a problem on both sides of politics. The Liberal Party's been very weak on this, apart from people like Claire Chandler and one or two others. One Nation have been very good on this, again, all falling on deaf ears. Politicians who go to Anzac Day services, and at the dawn service we always hear about those brave men who fought so that we could be free today. Are we free today?
No, they're absolutely making a mockery